Welcome to We Talk English, your favorite English podcast. We're excited to have you with us today. Before we dive in, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay connected for regular English learning podcasts. Let's get started.
Ever order something totally weird off a menu just to try it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That's kind of what we're doing today, diving deep into food and culture shock.
Love it. Food is like this key that unlocks cultures,
Right. We've got Natalia's story. She's a Ukrainian refugee adapting to life in the Netherlands.
And what's more comforting than familiar food when everything's new, right?
Totally. When I'm stressed, I just want like macaroni and cheese, comfort food. But imagine not even having those familiar ingredients around.
Exactly. Staple foods. They're like cultural cornerstones. Natalia talked about missing certain ingredients that were everywhere in Ukraine. They're connected to history, geography. Think wheat versus rice, shaped whole cuisines.
Wow, yeah. So how'd she cope without those key ingredients?
She got creative, adapted her Ukrainian recipes, swapped in Dutch ingredients whenever she could.
Like culinary improvisation?
Totally. Trial and error. Sometimes it works, sometimes not. But she made it her own, a fusion of her Ukrainian roots and her new life.
That's incredible. Turning hardship into something delicious.
Yeah. Finding a little bit of home in a new place through food.
Okay, so comfort food, adaptation, check. Ready for a different kind of culinary adventure.
Hit me.
Let's jet off to Tobago. We've got Rachel. She's an English dietitian who got a heaping dose of culture shock, Caribbean style.
Ooh, I can already tell where this is going. Spice level.
Yeah. Rachel was blown away by how integral seasoning is in Caribbean cooking.
What
But it wasn't just salt and pepper, right?
Not even close. Think layers.
Yeah.
Spices, herbs, all perfectly balanced. She described it as like a symphony of flavor.
Imagine trying to recreate that. She said everyone had their own little tweaks, too. Family recipes passed down. It's almost an oral tradition,
Absolutely. Like, you can't just Google that. Rachel had to learn through experience.
Yeah.
That trial and error again.
It's like sometimes the best way to learn is by like messing up in the kitchen. You ready for a curveball, though? You don't always have to travel far to find these cultural quirks.
Ooh. Tell me more.
We're about to dive into a very British controversy.
Lay it on me.
Get ready for the great cream tea debate. Now, you might be thinking, what could be so controversial about cream tea? It's scones, clotted cream, jam, a lovely pot of tea. It sounds perfectly civilized, right?
You'd think so.
Yeah.
But you'd be surprised how passionate people get about the correct way to assemble a cream tea, specifically when it comes to the order of the cream and jam on the scone.
It's the age-old question, cream first or jam first. I have my own very strong opinions on this, but we want to hear from you. Have you ever encountered this debate?
And it's not just a friendly difference in preference, is it? It seems to tap into a deeper sense of tradition, regional identity, maybe even a bit of playful rivalry.
Exactly. And it's a great example of how, even within a single culture, you can find these fascinating microcultures, each with their own set of customs and, dare I say, rules.
It's a good reminder that culture is never static, is it? It's constantly evolving, with variations and interpretations even within seemingly homogeneous groups.
So true. And food often becomes this delicious battleground for those debates, doesn't it? Whether it's about the right way to make a certain dish or the proper etiquette for eating it, food has a way of bringing these cultural nuances to the surface.
Absolutely. And it's those nuances, those little quirks and traditions that make exploring different cultures, or even our own, so fascinating.
I couldn't agree more. As we've journeyed from Natalia's kitchen in the Netherlands to Rachel's culinary adventures in Tobago, and even landed here in the midst of the great British cream tea debate, it strikes me how these stories, while different on the surface, all speak to the powerful connection between food and personal experience.
It's incredible how a single ingredient or a traditional recipe can unlock a flood of memories, emotions, and even a sense of belonging. Food is so much more than just fuel, isn't it? It's a tangible link to our past, a way to connect with others in the present, and even a source of inspiration for the future.
Beautifully said. It makes you think about the stories behind the food we eat every day, doesn't it? The history, the traditions, the personal touches that have been passed down through generations.
It certainly does. And it encourages us to approach all culinary experiences, whether it's trying a new restaurant or learning to cook a family recipe, with a sense of curiosity and appreciation for the cultural tapestry that's woven into every bite.
So the next time you sit down to a meal, no matter how familiar or exotic it might seem, Take a moment to savor not just the flavors, but the stories, the traditions, and the connections that make each dish so much more than just food.
It's a delicious reminder that the world is full of surprises, and sometimes the most unexpected discoveries happen when we venture outside our culinary comfort zones, even if it's just trying the cream on our scone first.
And with that thought-provoking image, we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us on this delicious exploration of food, culture, and the fascinating ways they intersect. We'll leave you with this question to ponder: what's a food that holds a special significance for you, and why? Until next time, happy eating. So, are you ready to settle this debate once and for all?
Well, I don't know about settling it, but I'm definitely ready to dive into the delicious details. What are the arguments?
Okay, so Team Jam, first they say it's all about the foundation. You spread that jam on your scone nice and even like a blank canvas, then you top it with a dollop of that beautiful clotted cream.
Makes sense. Keeps the cream from, sliding around.
Exactly. Plus, they argue that visually it's more appealing. You get that lovely contrast of the bright jam peeking out from under the cloud of cream.
Okay, I can see that. So what about Team Cream first? What's their case?
Well, they're all about maximizing that cream to scone contact. They say spreading the cream first creates this luxurious buttery base for the jam.
Indulgent. I like it.
Right, and they argue that it's more practical. Clotted cream can be a little tricky to spread on a crumbly scone, but jam glides right over that cream like nobody's business.
You know, now that you mention it, I have had some near scone-related disasters trying to spread cold, clotted cream.
See, it's a real dilemma. And honestly, there's no right or wrong answer. It often comes down to where you're from, your family traditions, your own personal preference.
It's a bit like those "is a hot dog a sandwich" debates, isn't it? No definitive answer, just lots of passionate opinions.
Exactly. It's all in good fun. And it reminds us that even something as simple as a cream tea can be a source of cultural debate and fascination.
Totally. You know, it's been so interesting taking this deep dive into food and culture shock.
Me too. We've gone from Ukrainian comfort food in the Netherlands to the art of Caribbean seasoning in Tobago and ended up right here, debating the proper assembly of a British cream tea.
Who knew food could be so full of surprises?
Right. It just goes to show that no matter where you go in the world, food is this incredible window into different cultures and experiences.
It's like a universal language, in a way.
Absolutely. And sometimes the best way to learn about a new culture is to, well, taste it.
Couldn't agree more.
So, we want to hear from you. What's a food that holds a special significance for you?
And, again, thanks for joining us on We Talk English.